Cordell, welcome to BetMGM tonight. Straight away from me, Baltimore has been on the cusp of reaching the Super Bowl seemingly every year for the last several years, but it continuously gets stiff-armed by KC. What do you believe are the top priorities for John Harbaugh and company to finally get over the hump and maybe oust Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, it just needs to be the Ravens being themselves in January. We haven't seen the Ravens that we see in the regular season. We haven't gotten to see those guys in the playoffs usually, and that's been the big bugaboo for them. And they're losing close games. I think turnovers have been an issue for them, both committing turnovers and not forcing enough turnovers. That was something that Marlon Humphrey told us at the end of minicamp when we talked to him. Was I asked him flat out, like, Marlon, when you go back and you watch these games, do you find yourself asking yourself, like, why can't we get over the hump? And he said the thing that he kind of came closest to was they're not forcing enough turnovers. So I think that is going to be a big point of emphasis for them when they do eventually get to the playoffs, because I do think this is a playoff team. The Ravens are a boring team because you know what you're going to get from them in the regular season. But come January, the same question pops up. I do think, and look, I think it's more than just KC. They've been knocked out by Buffalo twice in the Lamar era, including last year. They've been knocked out by the Titans before. So they just have their own personal hurdles that they have to get over. But I think it's really about them getting to being a defense that forces turnovers in January.
Cordell, Baltimore made it pretty clear this offseason with different free agent pickups and some draft picks that they really felt like they needed to strengthen their secondary. Do you think, in your eyes, that they did enough to make that kind of weak point on their defense a strength this year and maybe be the final hurdle to getting them over the hump and getting them to a Super Bowl?
I mean, I'd imagine so. It's funny, going into last year, I turned out to be a fool, but I thought that their secondary would be the strength of their team. I thought that would be one of the better secondaries in the NFL. And Marcus Williams he was just really a dud for them last year. He ended up getting benched maybe halfway through the season. He's still out there on the street. He's still a free agent waiting to be picked up. This was one of the guys that was a premier safety in the league just a couple of years ago. So that was a huge disappointment for them. And look, they had Zach Orr, who was a young first-time defensive coordinator calling plays at the NFL level for the first time. He replaced Mike McDonald, who was probably the best defensive coordinator in football before he left the Ravens to take the head coaching job in Seattle. The Ravens defense were a triple crown winner the year that they went to the AFC Championship game against KC. So they lose people like Patrick Queen at the second level. That impacts all three levels of the field. So I do think this year, though, they'll be right back to where they want to be. Not even just mentioning the addition of Jair Alexander, who at his best is an elite corner in his league. The question marks are the question marks. Can he stay healthy? That'll be the big thing. But when he is on the field, there are a few questions about what he brings. Marlon Humphrey, you're hoping that he can build off of a really good bounce-back season last year. Nate Wiggins was really good for them as a rookie last year and really got better as the year went on. I love the Malachi Starks draft pick. I mean, that he fits in like a glove watching him in rookie minicamp and minicamp. And Kyle Hamilton, I mean, he's in contention to be maybe the best safety in football. So the pieces are there on paper. We'll see what happens when the season comes.
Cordell, obviously last year, Derrick Henry kind of drank from the fountain of youth, right? He was such a big focal point for Baltimore. It looks like he kind of turned back the clock, turned into 27-year-old Derrick Henry and not 30-year-old Derrick Henry. Convince me why I shouldn't be worried about Henry hitting that 30-year-old running back cliff where he just kind of turns into a pumpkin and can't produce at the rate that he was last year for this team.
Well, the number one encouraging thing is that number 8 is still back there, and he is just the force multiplier. I mean, I said it last year a couple of times. When the NFL was created, these unwritten rules of what to do on short yardage situations and what to do on fourth down, those rules weren't created with the idea that any team would ever have a backfield with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry in it. So they are just able to do things that no other team is able to do. So that threat alone of Lamar being next to him is a huge, huge boost for him. The fact that this offensive line should be better this year. Going into the season last year, the Ravens had to fill 3 starting spots around that offensive line. And as the season started, the first quarter of the season, you saw that offensive line struggling. Derrick Henry really he didn't get going, I don't think, until that game in Dallas where they ran all over the Cowboys. Yeah. But it took some time for that offensive line to really gel together. So I don't think they'll have as big of an issue with that this year. I think they really only have one spot up for grabs maybe, and that's at left guard, I believe. And I think they know that they want Andrew Voorhees to be that guy. They're just kind of waiting for him to take that spot. So, Derrick Henry, as long as he stays healthy, and believe it or not, watching him at camp, he looks like he's gotten bigger. I'm not even lying to you. I'm watching him out there. It almost looks like he inflated his arms a little bit. Now, maybe he had on a jersey that was a little too small, but he looked like SpongeBob with the inflated muscle arms walking around a couple of times during practice at minicamp. So, everybody's been waiting for Henry to hit this cliff that just hasn't shown up yet, really. I have no reason to believe that cliff is going to show up this season.
Yeah, he just continues to stiff arm Father Time with those that SpongeBob body. Apparently, Derrick Henry, outstanding stuff. We're talking to Cordell Woodland, Ravens insider for 105.7 The Fan, co-host of the Fresh Take. Make sure you follow him on X, where he's always giving it to you there at Cordell Woodland. Again, on X at Cordell Woodland. Cordell, the fantasy football community is always on the hunt for values, and which pick after number 60 overall in fantasy football among the Baltimore Ravens do you believe is going to profit most for gamers? Your options are Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, or Rashod Bateman. Who do you like?
Oh, I don't think you can really go wrong with any of those options, but my top two are between Likely and Bateman. The Ravens are in a weird spot where their entire tight end room is in the last year of their contract. So they have to kind of figure out where they want to go from here. Mark Andrews is coming off of a great regular season where he led all tight ends in receiving touchdowns, but left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths with the way that divisional round game ended in Buffalo, where he has the fumble in the fourth quarter. He also has the drop that would have tied the game. So I think they know what they have in Mark, but Likely – They've barely scratched the surface with Likely, and everything that he has shown them has basically given them more reason to continue to invest in him. He does a lot with little. He's earned Lamar's trust. He's become one of Lamar's go-to guys in the scramble drill. He's really good at jump balls, and he is underrated after the catch. So Likely could be one of those guys. I just wonder if Likely's going to give fantasy fans that those touchdown numbers that they're looking for out of that tight end position. Mark Andrews probably will give you more of that, I would imagine, but I'm still unsure myself if Likely will be that tight end one for the Ravens or if they're going to continue to let Mark hold that spot down. Bateman is coming off just a spectacular year that just got him paid. He was uber efficient. He was one of the best down-the-field threats in the league. I don't know if he'll be able to duplicate those numbers. Now, he is an incredible route runner. His separation percentage is always through the roof, so he gets open, and he and Lamar are on the same page. So, look, he had, 9 touchdowns, I think, last season receiving. I don't know if he'll get to that, but I wouldn't be upset at anybody for taking Bateman. But if you're going to make me choose one, I probably would say I'm going to go with Rashod Bateman just because there are fewer question marks about him than there are about the 2 tight ends right now.
All right, Cordell, I need a 30-second answer here because we're up against it. Team Huevos time. What's your official stance on the over or under 11.5 wins for Baltimore this season?
Oh, easily over. The Ravens should be a 12-win team at worst. I mean, the Steelers, I don't see them really going anywhere. We'll see with the Bengals, but their defense is still their biggest question mark, and the Browns are the Browns. And the Ravens, again, they dominate the regular season. As long as number 8 is upright, I feel pretty confident that they'll get at least 12 wins this season.